Yo, what's up everyone? What's up Caslo fam? What's up YouTube fam? It's been a while since we made a video, so sorry about that. We've just been super busy. We're trying to get back in the swing of things. Gonna try to get some more content out there for you guys. But today we have a special one. We just got to do a remix for Illenium, and so we wanted to share that with you guys and kind of show you the ins and outs of making like a rock, punk, EDM remix. And in this video, we're going to go over the drop, kind of how we made the drop, all the elements that go involved with it, and we're going to do a full walkthrough available for our Patreons. If you guys want to go and check out the Patreon page, we're going to have like a sample pack too with all the kicks and snares and, you know, all that fun stuff we had from the project. So all that will be available on Patreon. But yeah, we're going to rip through the drop real quick here. So let's go.
All right, finally here, Lifeline walkthrough. The whole thing, we're gonna do everything. Full Patreon video will be up. YouTube will be a little short, but if you guys want to watch the full thing, come join a Patreon, come check it out. But hopefully everybody learns something. This project is quite a beast. But before we even get in with the whole like walkthrough side, a little like backstory and how this worked is probably important for some of you guys out there that maybe don't know how this kind of happened. So it was funny. So we were working on a demo for these other guys, Carousel Kings. Shout out to those guys. Awesome guys, really great vocalists and band. But they were working on a song with us and doing vocals. So I was putting together a demo, and literally the song started from just a demo that we're working on with them. But then we had a chance to I think Illenium's album had just come out, and we're like, hey, we want to do like a little remix, but I didn't feel like grinding out a whole song in like a few days to get the jump on everybody. So it so happened to be that the song that Brody was like, why don't you try Lifeline, see if that works. First song picked, didn't try any other ones, like, oh, let's just see what the vocal is. And we literally tried slapping it on this, and somehow it lined up perfectly. It was just off by, I think, the original is 155 and ours is 150. So a little bit slower, unfortunately, but that's kind of how it even started. And then we're like, holy smokes, this actually works. And we eventually just like slapped the vocal on, mastered it, and then did a little video on YouTube, not on YouTube, sorry, on Instagram, I think Twitter, and Illenium saw it. So just think, power of social media, pretty cool stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much how it happened. Was a song for, like I said, Carousel Kings. But the original demo actually was pretty much what this ended up sounding like anyways. So let's take a look at drop effects real quick before we go into the depths of the drop. Let's see. So, you know, just your basic fills stuff, just to add a little bit more excitement. There's a few fills like the guitar stuff here, like the ricochet, and then guitar neck slap, which is what? Oh, slide. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the stuff filling that in. The drums are good. Routing, what I did. Everything percussion-wise, hi-hats, all that stuff that's not the main elements of the drop drums is in their own bus. As you can see, this is going to the pre-master, and the kick and snare is going directly out to the master. So I'm routing everything kind of to its own thing. Mostly everything, so this goes to master bus here. The effects goes to master effects bus, which has everything to like automate the build and stuff. So all the tracks I want to automate all that on being sent to the master. We'll look at that again later, but as you can see, yeah, kick and snare go directly to the limiter pretty much. And then percussion does not. But percussion on its own is just very basic, and then I think extra hi-hats. And everything is actually sidechained in this on these two buses, which is sidechain bus and then the glue bus just to sidechain. FYI, some of the stuff in this mix probably sounds a little wonky because it's not mastered. And for everybody out there who is doing mastering or not, you kind of have to work for the master. Like some things I had to turn up in the mix because I knew it was going to get crushed in the master. Specifically the vocals. I think drums are going to be crazy loud on this drop. I mean, it's slightly off by a few dBs here and there, but yeah, the master, when Brody crushes it, it has to be like, I'll send him one version and then he'll send it back and I'll listen and be like, the drums are gone or like the vocals gone. So you have to compensate and go back in the mix and turn stuff up. So, you know, it's kind of a trial and error, but that's kind of how we do it. Anyways, going from there, kick and drum, very simple. Like I said, actually real quick going back to the other percussion in here. There's like nothing really going on besides clipping. Same thing transient, which is on all of the all the percussion stuff. Same transient boost and same OTT, same clipping. Everything is the same, and they're just all on there, all in individual buses together. So that way, when it does go into limiter, it's not gonna have one peak just ruin the whole mix. It's gonna kind of be somewhat crushed in some areas. So if there are any small peaks, the limiter's not gonna freak out. Without that, the limiter would be like, no, go fix that. So back into the kick snare bus. You can see how many snares I have layered. So many. Don't ask me why. They all had a reason to be in this, apparently. Now, I don't know why this... Oh. Yes, okay. So, I'm not going to go through every one of these layers, but there's a multitude of snares, obviously. But in this snare bus, I'm actually sidechaining the tail of the snare to the kick, because you're not going to necessarily hear the tail in the drop, and I just wanted that extra bit of punch out of the drop anyways, and I didn't want the kick to just kind of slap over the tail of the snare. So I was like, I'm just going to sidechain it, and it doesn't sound bad. It actually kind of adds a bit more, which you'll kind of listen here. It adds like a very minor amount, but it adds enough. So altogether, with all the percussion stuff, you kind of hear what it sounds like now. And a lot of that like empty space in the drum section is all filled in with like some fill stuff, which is in the drop, I believe, and also with the effects. So if you play it with the effects, you'll kind of hear it on that, especially that middle break. And then quarter break you'll hear here too. You get the idea. So that's pretty much that. And same on this bus, it's the same transient, 5% OTT, and clipping. Anyways, going back, let's look at the drop real quick. I'm not going to touch on the vocals because we know how the vocals are. Vocals, obviously no lifeline, so there's nothing to look at there. But the drop stuff is all pretty much just guitars. So like if we play all the guitars real quick. And all that stuff it's all processed the same as the other ones, actually, I believe. And here goes this control view again. Yeah, same processing. I literally copied it, but just recorded a new guitar. Chug, same thing, copied it, recorded a new guitar. So it's all the same. I like to reuse a lot of that stuff, especially because, I mean, I want the song to match a tonality that is all the same. I don't want to have like a different preset guitar and it sounds totally different, because I notice it'll make the song kind of sound like, oh, it sounds like one whole project, one whole, creation. But then when you start changing all these sounds, it's like, I don't know. I noticed a big change and it doesn't work, which I have done before, but for this, I did not work. I had to use the same presets, and I figured, oh, it works and it sounds great. So let's net that. The processing is all the same. The only difference is I sent it all to a bus, which is actually pretty much the same as the other buses, which we'll look at. As I said, we're going through right now. I'm just kind of going through every individual track, but let's go through the so that bus is the same, that bus is the same. Let's go through kind of what we're doing on the saws now. Saws are very basic. I think they're both Ana 2. No, Ana 2 and Massive. One's more crunchy. That one's more phasey. This one's, I think, more crunchy. Yeah, so, and I use the same FET snap, which this is great. This adds some, another Analog Obsession plugin. Adds a little bit of snap, but you can kind of tone it in and such. For some reason, I think the mix is off on this, and I don't know why this is on. This shouldn't be off, but it is. So I'm not gonna touch it. And then some corrective EQ because there's a bunch of trash in it. And that's for the other one as well. Same thing. FET snap is off. Good. Glad it's off. Corrective EQ. If I turn all this off, you kind of hear how muddy some of these are. Let's just turn all these off. It's muddy enough where it needed to be out because I need to really make room because the guitars are the main thing, you know. The saws are really just filling in the back because it's, like I said, it's a rock song. I didn't want to make it sound like, oh, you go right from rock into super sawness. No, it needed to keep the rock vibe throughout the whole song, especially for what was going on in the intro and everything. And all the saw stuff is, I think it's all processed the exact same. It's just, I think EQ, oh my goodness. Yeah, and there we go. If you guys remember what I said earlier, some of these are butchered, and this is butchered. Like, all these resonance I got rid of, it's like, here's the thing. You can get rid of resonance, but at some point, you start taking away harmonics. And then I mean harmonics, like, that are important, which is kind of what happened here. But it wasn't necessarily a problem because, like I said, it's more guitar-based. I needed to fill in the other harmonics that the guitar is not adding. So that's why a lot of this is chopped to hell. And it's also not on linear phase. Again, you don't notice, but you would want that to be on linear phase specifically because of all the cuts. Not good. But this, yeah, a lot of these, I took out a lot of these frequencies that were clashing with the guitars. And they needed to go because all this other gap stuff is filling in the remainder of what the guitar didn't. If that makes sense. If it were reversed, I would chop the guitar up, you know, and make that fill in the gaps of the saw. But obviously the saw is filling more than guitars, so I had to do this. And then obviously I compressed it enough. Multi-band compression. I don't like using a single band, you know, compressor for saws or rock guitars or anything like that because you can control the lows and mids more, which you need to be tight. And if it's not tight, then you kind of have a problem. And if you use, you know, a single band compressor, you're gonna have, you know, reacting to certain specific frequencies. And for guitars, you're gonna either have like 1 to 3 or 4K, which is gonna be what the compressor is reacting to, or the low end. And I don't want that, so I really dialed in everything. Saws, obviously, same thing. Dialed it in, compressed it, very little. Just enough to make it a little tight. Quick attack, quick release, and as it goes up to the higher bands, I have slower attack, slower release. But all together in the bus, let's take a listen now. So this, same thing, resonance, ripping out a bunch of junk That's a lot of resonance to take out. I could have used Soothe, but Soothe, I realize, is only good on some things. I realize if you use it on like saws or stuff that has a lot of those piercing harmonics or piercing resonances, it just kind of ruins it. Because you can't dial in, I want this resonance, this one that's at 3,400 hertz to be ducked an extra 3 dBs, It's on the algorithm to kind of dial that in. So that's pretty much what happened on this. Cut it up, a little bit of boost on that air band, and a little bit on the 9K, but that's about it. Not too much. And remember, this is the chords, saws, and drop guitar all in one. Let's put in here. Let's look at multiband and the final compressors here. So 2 multiband compressors. I don't know why I have these on separate bands. I think, is it on side only? No, they're not on side only. I don't know why I did this. I don't know, but we're gonna look. I mean, again, it's all like minor compression, no more than like 0.5 dBs on all these, and probably no more than 0.5 on this too, so dB max. Still kind of a bit of compression, in my opinion. I don't know why I did this. I had to have had some reason on this. Oh, I mean, look at that. Look at that release and attack. Like, there's no room for movement in that. That's just kind of jarring it. These are not that quick, as you can tell, 20, 60 release. But I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, that is also there, I guess. There must have been something in the past. I was like, oh, this did not sound good, so I had to add it in. But then this is for the lead. Yes. Okay, so I was lazy, and instead of properly mixing in the lead, I ducked it with a multiband compressor. Ducked all the mid frequencies, everything in the mid. And when I mean mid, I mean in mono. So everything in mono, in the mids, I ducked for the lead specifically, to give it some more room. So that's pretty much what is going on. I could have used like a dynamic EQ and sidechained it and took out the frequencies that were, problematic for the guitar, but instead this is what I did. So this is good to use, but you will hear this ducking in a lot of circumstances, like especially in the verses. If you do this, I think I did do it in the verse, or maybe I don't think I did. No, I didn't do it in the verse, but yeah, I only did this in the drop because that lead I needed to come through a lot, and it was too loud and abrupt if it was just raising the volume. So there's my cheat right there. Obviously, we got a white noise next. Cut at 900 roughly, and I know that some white noise, specifically this, will have a lot of hissiness, and I didn't want the hissiness, so I really reduced the top end. Specifically this band. Like, I reduced it a lot. Because, like, again, I just wanted to blend it in. I didn't want it to be... Because I already have white noise from the saws, obviously. Not on it, but... What is it? Man, I cannot talk tonight. Saws generally do have, like, a white noise... Like, it has white noise in it because of all the harmonics, and as it goes up in frequency, it kind of just makes white noise. But it's not a very nice white noise because it's more harsh. So that's why I blended in the white noise. It's always better to do that than to throw it in with your saws, which I don't do anymore. I used to, but I don't. Alright, drop atmosphere. I think this was part of that intro vocal originally, and I just processed it a ton. Yeah, processed it with Saturated, which is a like distortion plugin. OTT'd it, phoned it again. Yep, there's your phone preset. And then same thing, like wave shaped it. So that's pretty much what goes on. Alright, sonar effect. This sound is not what it sounds like now. Originally it was. I don't know why it sounds like total garbage, but same exact kind of thing went in with cutting it up. Saturator, OTT, and such, so. Yeah, so those two playing together kind of. Which you can actually hear in the drop if you listen, but you wouldn't think so, but it is in there. Drop vocals. Everybody knows what this one is. I don't know why this is off. This shouldn't be off. Is it off? Oh, it's just muted. So these two. And if you can tell, it's just a copy and paste. Phone filter, saturator with a bunch of reverb. 14 seconds. And those are copied over to one another. This one has tape stop on it because at the beginning of the pre-drop. Beginning of the pre-drop, that is happening. What do we got on? What is these effects? Drop lead vocal effects. This, in my personal opinion, could have came up a lot in the final mix, but I got to this point where I turned it up once, Brody mastered it, turned it up again, Brody mastered it, turned it up again, and I couldn't hear it. So then I was just like, I'm just gonna turn it down a bit more, like turn it back down to where I had it, and just leave it, because any louder, it's kind of like just gonna clog everything up, because it just wasn't coming through. So I could have probably just deleted it, because I mean, you can hear it if you really listen, but it's not prominent at all. It's very light. So everything in that drop bus, like everything that I just went over, I put into one final drop bus, which I believe I did mid-side compression on it. So I compressed the left channel and the right channel. Right, same thing, very minor glue. Same on the mid band. Everything is very light, as I'll play through in solo so you can see. Not even a dB, like point two. Same on all this, like 0.2 dBs, like nothing. I just wanted to be touched. I wanted to go touch some grass, so that's what we did. Harmonies, guitar harmonies. Oh yeah, these two. So don't hate my playing, but this playing is probably not that great. So let's take a listen at this. I could have really mixed that a lot better to let that lead harmony come out, but there was a lot going on in this drop too. So like I said, like look at all this going on. There's so much junk that could have been removed, but if you do remove it, it just removes something. Like I felt like I was taking something out of my soul. It needed to be there. So that I think is pretty much it for the drop. All the processing for guitar is like. This is sidechain to the vocal, the lead for when the vocal comes in. You could automate that with just the gain tool, you know. And like I said, at the end when it's mastered, you're not even gonna hear the volume duck because it's all gonna be flattened so much. So I did that anyways with multiband. Same on the harm here. I did dynamic EQ sidechained, okay, sidechained to the lead guitar. That way, all these frequencies here, which is what we picked up with EQ match. I grabbed them all and sidechained it using the dynamic EQ a few dBs, 2 dBs to just duck some of those frequencies that was really like when both resonance would pretty much peak at the same exact second, it would cause like a really loud resonant. And instead of just removing it entirely in the drop bus, I was like, no, I'm just gonna do it this way. So that worked out. Processing for these are a little different, I think. Oh no, look, what do you know? Same processing for both leads. It was probably just slightly different, I'm assuming, on this lead. Let's see. I probably boosted a little bit more. Same thing in there, but yeah, so I boosted a bit more of everything. Again, not my proudest EQ. Cut out the lows more because it wasn't necessary. Anything more, especially for lead guitar, I noticed in specifically drops, anything below like 200 to 300 hertz just causes way too much like mud and too much low end. So cutting it out I found works best, especially in drops when you are at a lead guitar and with stacks of saws or whatever you got going on. Not enough low cut can kind of ruin it, so that's why that's chopped up so much. I think this one's also chopped up quite a bit too. Same thing, same EQ copied. Lead guitar bus, I sent it onto a bus to do like some effects which go on throughout the track. Interesting. Don't know why that's there, but let's listen to the effects. Let's just tremolo here. And same over there. Then I have a band pass going on for that kind of effect whenever the guitars are playing together on those like break sections. So that's that section, the whole drop area. The drops, oh, look at all the sidechain. Now if you look at all these, it's probably, no, I'm not using these all for the kick and snare. It's all for different elements in the song. I'm assuming these are probably kick and snare together. Oh, it is more sidechain. And then same again. The vocals, I believe, are, yeah, drop lead vocals are sidechained to the drop because, like I said, you can automate an EQ, or sorry, not EQ, automate a gain tool and just turn the drop down so much. Not gonna notice that as either. Like if it's like 0.5 dBs, you're not gonna notice it. But I notice once it gets to a certain level, oh gosh, you won't start to notice this ducking. This is at least a little more tighter and it's a little more precise because it only reacts when the vocal, you know, whenever the vocal is there, versus like automating it flat, you know, and then you'll hear it as the vocal breathes or so the vocalist breathes or, you know, gasps or something or whatever. In those moments where there is no singing, you will hear like this, like instead of it moving with the vocal, if you know what I'm saying, it's reacting with the vocal. It's not if you're using a gain tool. So you do hear more abrupt, weird dips in volume. This way you don't. Finally, for the drop bus, which we'll go look at all the buses now. Drop bus, I have obviously all our great sidechain. We have a gain tool for automation for some sections. Tape stop, filter, those two are just effects for which you can hear all the time. I said those two for a minute. I am getting exhausted over here. Alright. We have a true iron plugin going on, which is for some master bus sheen on that. Just a preset. I think it's some resonance and some, yeah, changes some tone here. Cut off the low again. Boost a little bit the high. And then multiband compress one more time for everything. And same with this. CLA preset and just tweaked it to compress the overall sound just enough, about 0.5 dBs, and that's pretty much it. A lot of compression going on. As I look back, it's probably not so necessary, but I mean, at the time, it actually sounded pretty good. It sounds fine now too, but like I said, there's a lot of redundancies going on, which you can avoid. I probably would have only compressed the whole drop bus with one compressor versus the ozone. But I do notice, I remember, sorry, when I did this last, I did notice a difference when I did multiband, and then did the other one, and there was a big difference in sound, so I think that's why I used both. But yeah, compress, bus to bus to bus, so that way when it gets to the drop bus, it's not going to be wild and all over the place. We haven't looked at bass. Let's take a look at bass really quick. All that is a drop mid bass, like a Rickenbacker, so an electric bass. Just that clickiness, and I EQ'd a bunch of it out because I only wanted that because I didn't need the low end specifically, as you know, mid bass it already has that covered. And then obviously drop is clean, cut at 100. But mid bass is just a very simple like 2-wave serum patch that I made. And then this is sidechain to what exactly? Oh yes, so I sidechain my mid bass and I think also this. Yes, I sidechain both of these, so both of these mid basses here. They're all both sidechain to the snare because if you think about it, if you truly want everything to be sidechained, I notice a lot of people throw their mid bass into their drop bus. I don't like to do that. To me, I think it is part of like the bass section and it deserves to be treated as bass. Everything else besides that is all dropped elements. So I put it with the bass and then I sidechain the snare and the kick to it. But the sub does not get sidechained to the snare, only the kick, because that way I have more control. And then I send this into a true dynamic drop bus, a little bit of compression. It's like 0.2 or 3 dBs just to grab it all and put it all in a nice bag. That is actually pretty much it in this entire remix. In case I missed anything or anybody wants to know anything specifically, this will be on, like I said, our Patreon. Come check it out. It'll be on YouTube. Not the full thing, obviously, but most of it will be on there. So if anybody wants to come check out the full thing, come over to Patreon. Big thank you to everybody on Patreon who has been supporting us too. Brody and I, like I said, thank you guys a lot. It helps us, and we try to help you guys out as much as we can with feedback and everything, and hope that you guys get a lot out of it because you guys definitely do make it worth a while for us as well. So yes, questions. I love questions. Please message us anytime. Patreon, you got any questions, need help, we're there. We're happy to help everybody that is in it. Everybody that's in our patrons, more like a family personally, because a lot of people have gotten a lot better, and you can see them from like when they first joined Patreon to where they're at now, a lot better, and it's just really awesome to see people taking our advice and using it, and it's actually helping them. So like I said, if you guys need any help, any questions, concerns or anything, or you guys, I missed something in the remix perhaps in this walkthrough, let me know. I can make a quick run through on that video down the road here after this is posted. But till next time, thank you folks, and I will catch you all for the next Patreon. Pieces.